following is a live copyrighted presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for RadioLawTalk.com with your host, Frederick Penny, attorney at law. And now, RadioLawTalk.com.
Welcome. It is May 11th, 2019. Todd and I have put our deodorant on. We're in hour 3 of Radio Law Talk. But actually, Cal hasn't. He's shaking his
it's bad.
arms there.
It's bad in here.
Luckily, we have the glass, and we're sealed off from Cal, who's in the other room.
Hermetically sealed control room.
Yeah, he's in the control room. We can see him through the glass.
Hey, Cal, light a match, will you?
Oh, man, no kidding, right? No, it's fine.
Todd Cunin is a former prosecutor for the District Attorney's Office in California and in Tennessee, and is a criminal defense lawyer.
Yes.
And I am a personal injury lawyer. I have bars in Washington, D.C. and the state of California. Anthony Sturks, who is a wonderful family law attorney, is not here as she is vacationing. I don't know where, but she'll probably be back late. She's probably at home sitting there in the spa listening to us and watching TV and just didn't want to show up.
That could be you're describing all that, and I guess I'm having a flashback to the 70s. One of my favorite shows, The Dukes of Hazzard. So here's what we got. We got you and I are Bo and Luke Duke, and then we got Daisy Duke, and then Cal, you got your choice. You can be Uncle Jesse, or you can be Crazy Cooter coming at you. Or do you want to be Boss Hogg?
Boss Hogg would be more to my physical type. But
well, let me tell you right now. All I got to say is my wife, I woke up this morning, I said, well, Denise isn't here. She said, what, the 3 blind mice? I said, well, that. And she said, well, how about the 3 little pigs? I said, that's true. I said, how about the 3 musketeers?
This has nothing to do with the law, but, well, that does. But there's a fashion. You ever heard of these Daisy Duke shorts?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the people wear, it's the cutoff shorts, are really short shorts.
I don't know, have I heard of them? I've seen them.
So people are wearing, you can hear, in rap songs, they talk about girls wearing the Daisy Dukes and everybody, and yet so many people don't know where it comes from. It comes from that show.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I never watch that stuff. I don't look at that stuff. So
I worked at a CBS.
I'm happily married.
I worked at a CBS affiliate as a news anchor guy when that show came on. So we would lead into that. I think it was that, and then Dallas, which was huge, and then came the 10 o'clock news back in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Wow. As a matter of fact. So we watched. We all would sit there and go, "Wait a minute, this is a weird." Yet cool show because of the jumping car, the General Lee.
Yeah, you know how many cars they went through on that show?
I can't even imagine.
Is this a little anecdotal?
It could be.
Hey, you know what? KTOX 1340 AM and 104.1 FM in Needles, California joined us last week. Welcome. I know we have such a large list. Go to our website, www.radiolawtalk.com, and you can look and see the affiliates. Go to our affiliates page, and if you have any questions of attorneys, there's lists of attorneys there from different states. But you ready for this? It's almost confirmed, but on the 25th of May, mark that on your calendars. That is what? Is it Memorial?
It is the Saturday before Memorial Day.
Saturday before Memorial Day. We may be having our Texas lawyer, Chip Evans, out of Austin, Texas. Actually, he's got offices in Austin. Yep. He's got offices, I think, in San Antonio and Dallas area. And he will be flying in here to sit with me during this 3-hour program.
Now, Chip joined us a couple of weeks ago. We had a call come in, had to do with an injury that occurred on a mechanical bull, and a waiver that was signed, and the facility owner tried to tell the guy, well, you signed the waiver, so you got no case against us. And we were able to get Chip on the horn and did a great job answering the question, general principles about personal injury and waivers in the state of Texas. So that'll be a good show to have him come on in.
Yeah, let me tell you a quick story. So, again, these are lawyers that will come in, and we have a Maryland lawyer that's a wonderful lawyer, a good friend of mine, and then you have Chip, who's a Texas lawyer. You got to understand the guy in Maryland is vegan, and he is the Mr. Health Food Nut. And let me tell you, Chip loves chicken fried steak. So when the two of them get together, they always like to talk about who's going to win. They're Baltimore Orioles or what? The
Texas
Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
And they always
or Houston,
and guess what? The person who loses has to eat the other person's food. Apparently, there's some vegan food that's that will really make you go to the bathroom. And so apparently they say, look, you're going to have to eat this. It's a hot dog of some sort that makes you go to the bathroom. According to the vegan guy, he was going to make him eat the hot dog. But then what Chip was going to do, Chip was going to make him eat a chicken fried steak. Mm-hmm. And literally the lawyer out of Maryland was so nervous because he said, dude, I would have to eat it, and literally we have to have the ambulance nearby. I would probably be in the hospital. I've never eaten something like that. It'll probably make my stomach sick.
What he'll probably do is go, what was I eating all this vegan stuff?
Oh, that was pretty
this
good.
Is really good.
Well, you'd want to take a page out of the wine tasting stuff in the wine country and all that, where they you smell it and you put it in your mouth and you swish it around and then you spit it in a bucket. You don't actually consume it. You just get the tastes and do all of that.
Like one of the cooks on one of those, like the Food Network. There's one yes. rather petite woman. How do she stay so slender? Well, she judges the food and then goes pack.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time when I was a kid.
By the way, if you're eating your lunch, sorry, but anyway.
Yeah. Remember, we're not giving legal advice. General topics of law. Seek local counsel. Just remember, the only thing you can use us for is around the Christmas table or Thanksgiving table, or when you're with your in-laws and you want to quote them or quote us, you could say, instead of, well, they say, you could say, Radio Law Talk hosts say. That's what you can say. That's about all you can use us for.
Yep. That's good stuff. Good stuff.
We're going to do a case or no case. We're going to talk a little bit about what do you not? I don't. Well, we're talking about Hollywood, but you call it
celebrities, people of notoriety that are in the news.
We're going to talk about Brooke Shields' lawsuit for her eyebrows. We're going to talk about Johnny Depp lawsuit. We're going to talk about Conan O'Brien's lawsuit, and then we're going to talk about El Chapo, how he has his lawyers are bringing motions before the court to say that he's being treated with cruel and unusual punishment. We're going to talk about that stuff, and let me tell you, this fake German heiress, Anna Sorokin, or is that, I don't know how you say it, but she goes by another name. This is one of the most interesting stories you've ever heard, where she's being prosecuted and had just been sentenced to 4 to 12 years in prisons, and this is super interesting. And not only that, Netflix and HBO are supposedly picking her up as a new show, or they're going to do a show on her.
All of that because she was a big fat phony, basically.
She was a phony. Said she's an heiress, but she wasn't.
She's a big fat phony, and everybody wanted to cash in on that gravy train.
Exactly.
Oops.
How do we get in on this deal?
Yeah, there's some pretty lavish spending. Flying a private jet that was like $35,000 back to where's Warren Buffett's? They held there as an Oklahoma.
No, it's in Nebraska, I believe. Omaha.
Wherever, Omaha.
She got a bank to loan her $100,000 with nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing.
I'm a German heiress, and I would like to sign a piece of paper.
We have ways of making you loan stuff to us. and I want your money, and I'm going to put it into my little account here. Yeah. I will pay you interest at the rate of 0.5%, and you will like it.
Here's my signature.
It is all legitimate. Go ahead and call.
And the banker goes, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
No problem. What are you doing tonight?
Yes.
Let's go out.
I note that her attorney did not disclose exactly how he is being compensated for his representation.
That's exactly it. No, he did.
He did. He said
I'm not telling.
I declined to say how I am being compensated.
Uh-oh.
I would like to have a private cell. Never mind.
I'm just wondering if Congress wants to investigate that.
Well, we're going to come back, and we will have case or no case, and we're going to get into all those things, and we're going to have fun with it. Sorry, some of you don't like us that we have fun. We have fun on Radio Law Talk. Remember, the most important thing, Radio Law Talk, let's entertain, and then maybe we'll learn something. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Radio Law Talk on RadioLawTalk.com and on your favorite radio station, and we thank you very much.
Advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk is strictly for the state or states in which the advertiser is licensed. For more information, go to RadioLawTalk.com.
Jason Ross back here with Fred Penny, managing attorney from Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. Now, Fred, what type of cases are you dealing with now, and what sets you apart?
Jason, we help people with all types of personal injury cases. We're former insurance company trial lawyers. We understand the other side, which gives us a distinct advantage over our competition. Remember, we don't get paid unless we win.
That's Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennylawyers.com or give them a call, 1-800-616-4LAW. That's PENNEY lawyers.com.
This is Denise Dirks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
Not all law firms have extensive experience in all areas of the law. It's wise to look for firms that have knowledge and understanding in your particular area of concern. So go to prolawfirms.com. They have listings of attorneys in key areas of practice, such as family law, estate planning, personal injury, bankruptcy, and so forth. When you're looking for a lawyer that has extensive experience in your particular area of need, go to prolawfirms.com. That's prolawfirms.com.
ProLawFirms.com is not a law firm and does not endorse or recommend any specific law firm.
Hi, I'm Frederick Penny of Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. I bet you're tired of hearing lawyer commercials. So just relax and listen to music for a few seconds. When you or a family member has been injured, call 800-616-4LAW or see us at PennyandAssociates.com. See that.
Radio Law Talk. I like that show.
This is Radio Law Talk.
Cal, give Todd and I some points against Denise in case or no case, because, Cal, we are doing really, really well in guessing whether or not these are cases and what the outcome is.
Well, you're guessing the cases anyway, which is good. Each of you have gotten 2 points so far, 1 point for each of our case or no cases. And before we start, I promised that we would do an opportunity to put some of your points, your existing points, on the line. So I guess it's important to mention that right now Mr. Penny has 42 points. Mr. Cunin has 25. So
and what does Denise have?
Denise has 42. She's not getting any today, so you and Denise are tied at 42. Now you may put up to 5 points on the line. 5 points on the line.
So 5 gets me 5, or does 5 get me 10?
Well, if you put 5 out, then you get 10 points if you win.
So I'm at 25 now.
Or you either get 3 or 5. Half of it right, you get 3.
I just want to make sure. So how many points do I have right now?
You have 23.
I have 23 points. So conceivably, I could go up to 33.
33 points.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. I am not. I'm sticking with the normal amount.
I'm going to stick with the normal amount.
Yep.
All right. Well, then
Kat, what about you?
I'm going big or going home. So
all 5, man.
And every time I have said that, I have ended up going home. But yeah, I'm going to go all 5.
Here we go. Roll it.
Now it's time to play Case or No Case.
And now, case or no case, and to the former olive capital of California, Corning, California. I say former because there have been some changes in an olive plant there that make it less attractive to grow olives. But anyway, after a career in the merchant marines and other maritime services, Mr. Roger Brown lived out his quiet, solitary, hermit-like life in Corning, California. Then one day, or one night, no one knows because no one else was there but he passed away. Near his bedroll on the bedroom floor is where he died because, you see, he had no mattress. Once he died, the county sent over the public administrator to figure out what to do with Mr. Brown's assets, a small 840-square-foot house that he paid for long ago, and a 1982 pickup truck, Ford, and they thought maybe some chattel property. But what? They found some paperwork that revealed that Mr. Brown was well off, pretty well off, $3.7 million in investment accounts. So the search was immediately on for heirs or relatives because Mr. Brown never left a will. He had some paperwork in his file about leaving his estate to the Catholic Church, and he'd filled it all out. But he never signed it. The church was all ready for the windfall until an attorney who specializes in such matters for a third of the inheritance found three... This is true.
It's my fee.
My fee.
For 3 nieces and or nephews. And just as they were about to get the money, the church stepped in with their lawyers and said, wait, just because he did not sign the bequeathment, it is obvious. His intent was for us to get the funds, the proceeds from his house, even the old truck, the $3.7 million. He wanted it to go to us. And so I ask you, gentlemen, case or no case?
Is he talking to someone in this room? I didn't.
Well, I was being facetious, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And so let's see. I think it's Todd's turn to go first here.
Okay, so church thought they had a claim, then somebody found a will and a bunch of money, but it wasn't signed.
Not a will. It was a bequeathment form that the church gives you. I think they call it. It's a form that says, "Be a good steward of your estate." So, in other words, give it to God when you die.
Okay.
Or to the church, which, you know.
And so they gave him the bequeathment form, but he didn't sign it?
Filled it out, put all the information in there, account numbers, amounts, pretty much, but never affixed his signature.
Okay, but the church is saying because he filled it out, it should still come to us.
Correct. They're saying, obviously, it was in his intent, and we want to do what he wants to have happen. So.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. All right. Well, that is interesting. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do.
Please.
Here's what I'm going to do. Honestly, I don't have a snowball's chance in of catching anybody. So I am going to say, because you haven't given us a no case yet today, I'm just going to say on strategy, this is not a case.
Really?
I think you're making this up. I think you are making this up.
Huh. Mr. Penny, what say you, my friend?
First of all, I know absolutely nothing about estate planning. This is way beyond my expertise, but Todd is right on. This smells of a fake case by Cal. I truly do. Now, is it a situation? It might be, but this is not a case. This is pure trickery by Cal.
Only Cal would use a religious-based theme to peddle a lie.
Tell us what it is, Cal. If you want to call us at 855-LAW-RADIO and tell us what you think, or tweet us at Radio Law Talk, go ahead.
Well, we have 2 minutes, and this is so good that I hate to...
Just lay it out.
Right.
We've got lots of time. We got to talk about Brooke Shields' eyebrows.
Yes.
We have no time.
Okay, fine. All right.
The Blue Lagoon. No, wait. Never mind.
Well, let me start off by saying, if I may, that this particular case is an actual true story of a man with $3.7 million who lived in the Olive City of Corning, California, served in the Merchant Marine. All of that is absolutely true. So, for those of you who say it was founded on a true story, that would be Fred. Todd, you said the whole thing was faux. Correct.
Oh, now we have a new category. I said it's not a case. Nobody sued anybody. Nothing came up to this. This didn't happen. That's what I said.
For those of you who say it was not a case, let's see a show of hands, if we may. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the guy, where did the money go, Cal? Who got the money?
The lawyer got a third. The relatives got the rest. And by the way, the church never challenged. Because they said, under California law, if a person doesn't leave a will, they're basically saying, we want the money to go to our family. And that's what happened. So
and in all honesty, again, I'm pro-church. Great for churches. It should have gone to the family. And, wow, Uncle Jeb, did you ever meet Uncle Jeb? No, I haven't met him. Remember we didn't want to meet him? We should have met him, because guess what? That guy's loaded.
Should have gone to the family. Of course, the family, they didn't care that he was living in a house by himself with a bedroll.
We'll be back to talk about Brooke Shields' eyebrows.
This is Radio Law Talk. Stick around.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk is strictly for the state or states in which the advertiser is licensed. For more information, go to radiolawtalk.com.
If you're one of those independent people who wants your own business and you love food service, we just might have a great opportunity for you. Iceberg Drive-Ins. Iceberg is famous for its thick shakes and delicious food. We lend you our supply chain and expertise, and you can potentially have a thriving, successful, fun business that your customers will love. Iceberg Drive-Ins has some prime areas available right now, so if you're interested, get in touch with us right away. Go to icebergdrivein.com and click on the Contact Us button. Iceberg Drive-In, ready to grow with you.
I am Cameron Levitt, Chief Operating Officer of Concussion Medical Clinic. California's first concussion medical clinic is now open. As concussions increase each year, there has never been a greater need for concussion specialists. Our physicians at Concussion Medical Clinic are board certified in pediatric neurology and sports medicine and have partnered with universities, hospitals, and rehab clinics to expedite the recovery process. Simply put, we are elevating the standard of care. When you need an expert concussion opinion or concussion care, visit concussionmedicalclinic.com to schedule your appointment.
Many women have so many clothes in the closet, but then we go to get dressed and find we have nothing to wear. We've all been there. We all want to be comfortable and fashionable at the same time, and it's difficult to find clothing that makes that task effortless. But at Letty & Company, you can find trendy, comfortable clothing that is affordable. Things you'll want to wear every day. Shop with a purpose, online with free shipping. Just go to LETTYandcompany.com. LettyandCompany.com.
The cost of getting rid of garbage is high, and recycling products is lucrative. If you're a business or know of a business that needs an individual compactor or baler, call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. If you already have an industrial compactor, baler, or shredder and need service, don't forget to call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. Northwest Compacting, your full-service industrial compacting and baling company. Read more about
If you pay my fee, I'll take your case.
This is Radio Law Talk with Frederick Penny.
I love that voice. You know, this is right up my wheelhouse. I did not know that Brooke Shields was known for her eyebrows.
Well, let me tell you something, Fred. Knowing that this case was coming up, I took it upon myself to do extensive research into the Brooke Shields filmography catalog going back, and my research has shown that yes, indeed, Brooke Shields, starting with Blue Lagoon, had prominent eyebrows.
Well, Tilbury Beauty and a bunch of other retailers that carry this new pencil, the shade is called Brooke S.
And this is an eyebrow pencil, right?
Yes, it's an eyebrow pencil. So now she is saying, oh, my heavens to Betsy, that is referring to me, and she is suing them, claiming that they violated her rights to publicity, disgorgement of profits. In other words, they took her profits from her, and other damages. Apparently, there's a lot of retailers that are carrying this, but apparently she had, in 2014, had a line of eyebrow-related products with MAC Cosmetics, and she thinks that they are referring to her, Brooke S., that she has is not being compensated for this, and she has brought a lawsuit. So now the question becomes, is the name Brooke S. close enough to her and eyebrows in order for her to win this case to claim they owe us her money for, quote, using her name?
Cal?
You have to mention that it's the person she's suing is a very prominent makeup artist, Charlotte Tilbury, who has a huge makeup line that is extremely popular, and
Cal knows. Hey, Cal knows because he uses it.
Maybe. And had her own line of eyebrow-related makeup starting in 2014, which did not do as well as that of Charlotte Tilbury. And she fears brand dilution, basically, I think.
Does Tilbury also make biscuits? That'd be awesome.
I think
the Tilbury Doughboy.
No, they tried to do that, but she sued them for taking...
That's because we're 2.5 hours in.
2.5 hours in, TuneIn's getting punchy.
Okay, so the lawsuit's coming. We're going to follow this great lawsuit, but here's the general issue.
Yeah.
The general issue is going to be, is the word Brooke S. Okay, I think if there's a Brooke S. ice cream, she loses.
Yes.
Okay? If there's a Brooke S. car, she loses. But knowing she's known for her eyebrows, they're using it for her eyebrows, I'm not saying it's a win, she at least, I think, has an argument here that that's who they're referring to as her. Like, for example, you brought up Sting.
Yes.
Someone uses the word Sting in relation to music.
Well, in that case, I mean, you've got a name that's pretty unique. Sting has got a pretty unique. Although I will note that there was a professional wrestler, Sting, who was very popular with WCW back in the 90s. That was my guilty pleasure in law school. Used that name. Nobody got sued there. Prince would be another one that has a very unique name.
Fred.
Yes.
Fred.
Yeah.
Fred.
Bono for U2 and The Edge, the guitarist. Those are both very
Slash.
Those are very specific names.
Cal.
Lindsay Lohan tried this. Lindsay Lohan tried this, claiming that Lindsay, everybody knows it's me. Yes, that is a legitimate Lindsay Lohan impression.
Thank you.
Rockstar Games made has the Grand Theft Auto franchise. In GTA 5, there was a character named Lindsay, and look, I'll admit it, the animated character looks like her. They called her Lindsay, and so Lindsay Lohan tried to sue Rockstar Games. Not surprisingly, the game's worth billions, to get a piece of that pie. I don't recall. I don't think she was successful in doing that.
No, I don't recall.
The question's going to be whether or not Brooke is successful in doing this. I can say that if I was the cosmetic company, I mean, you can't. Look, you got to anticipate this is going to come. I would almost say it would be interesting if they had called a meeting before the release of the product and before the naming of the product and said, all right, what are we going to call it? Brooke S. And let's put in the minutes of our meeting here that S is going to relate to Schwarzkopf, Brooke Schwarzkopf. So that when you get in litigation, Your Honor, we'd like to bring forward this document that was done 5 weeks before the product release, and clearly S has nothing to do with Shields.
No, Brooke Schwarzkopf is a lady that's down. They paid like $500. Can you sign this release?
Yeah. She so it has reference to her, but clearly the implication behind the pencil is if you use this, you're going to get eyebrows that look like Brooke Shields.
Well, there are other celebrities that have had brow lift named after them. For example, there is the Rita after Rita Ora, Grace K after Grace Kelly, Naomi for Naomi Campbell, and the more generic supermodel. So obviously, part of her marketing scene is to give the impression that these things were developed by or with the permission of those artists.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll follow this, see what happens.
Johnny Depp. Now, Johnny Depp, we've talked about this before. He actually had a situation where he has sued his management team, his lawyers. A lot of it has settled out, but there's still a case pending. He is claiming that his divorce lawyer brought him, gave him improper advice to settle with his wife, his divorce. This is a general overview. Believe me, we can talk hours. And claims that he is unable to There's a Disney movie coming out called something like what's the one? Pirates of the Caribbean.
He's dropped from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, but this other one, I forgot the name of it, but yeah, and it's questionable whether or not he's going to be involved in it based upon things that came out.
So the issue we talked about is that with these lawsuits, there's all these depositions set up where all these big Hollywood A-listers and producers are being deposed. Well, the latest is they've withdrawn all the depositions at this time, and they're not going to depose these big-time stars.
And one of the big reasons is he's suing Bloom for a bunch of different causes of action.
Bloom is his attorney.
Bloom is his attorney, improperly collecting millions in contingent fees without a contract, other stuff. And one of the allegations was that Bloom also committed malpractice in relation to Depp's divorce to Amber Heard.
Right.
And one of the reasons these depositions have stopped is he has given notice, his team has given Bloom's team notice that they are no longer pursuing the malpractice claim as it relates to the divorce.
Nice.
So that may change the ball game, and to the extent these depositions were specific to that, it's no longer relevant.
There you go, people out there that are now everybody can go back to sleep and go back to work. There you go.
Now we know what's going on with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, now we've got Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien was sued, by the way, in July 2015, apparently. Well, that wasn't the time that he gave the joke, but he was sued in July 2015. There was a joke he put out that some no-name guy tweeted out apparently prior to this. This lawsuit was drug out till recently. They settled the case, and Conan went on, if you watch his show, and really talked in detail about this, saying basically, look, it's an arduous process. I want to let you know there are a lot of people, due to the fact that the internet's so big, now you got social media, people on Twitter. There are these 321 million monthly users on Twitter. He said there's bound to be people who are coming up with the same jokes. And I agree with that. He's right.
This statistic, 321 million monthly users of Twitter, and he says maybe as a joke, seemingly 60% of them are budding comedy writers. Look, the likelihood that two people would view things the same way and tweet it, a similar type joke, is very high.
Yep.
Right.
Very high.
Yeah.
But he settled with this guy an amicable agreement, and part of the reason that he did that was he said, look, comedy writers are hardworking people, and nobody wants to be accused of stealing something from somebody else, and it's just better to respect the profession, settle it amicably, and move on, as opposed to having this long and drawn out litigation, and that's what happened.
But he also made it clear, though, Fred, that some of the jokes that he was being sued over, that he had proof that had been written after.
Right.
So really, he's right. This is just basically people thinking the same way and writing a similar joke.
And he gave an example of Tom Brady. He did a Super Bowl joke with Tom Brady that joke had been written literally by 34 other people on Twitter at the same time. It's just, it's going to happen.
The only concern I have with this strategy of his to go ahead and settle is, look, you got a lot of honorable comedy writers, and you have some unscrupulous people. And if you set the precedent that you were willing to settle, is that going to open up the floodgates to more lawsuits of people seeking to cash in?
Probably.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Exactly right. Okay, now let's get to the important one, El Chapo.
Yes.
El Chapo's attorney, this is why we're talking about celebrities. El Chapo's attorney is asking the judge to intervene because they're worried about El Chapo in prison and how he's being treated. Now, we're not going to get into details because we only have, 30, 40 seconds left. But it's very interesting about the complaints that the attorney brings up, that his Eighth Amendment is being violated, which is cruel and unusual punishment, and the things that he has to go through while in prison.
The only thing that cracks me up is the attorney's argument that, quote, these type of restrictions have no relation to security concerns and they only serve to punish Mr. Guzman. Well, that's what you're in jail for.
Hello, life is tough.
It's punishment.
So we're going to come back and talk about that. And finally, the fake German heiress lawsuit, and she was just sentenced. We got to talk about that. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. There's a lot more Radio Law Talk coming up in our final segment, and you won't want to miss even a second of it. Don't go away.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk is strictly for the state or states in which the advertiser is licensed. For more information, go to radiolawtalk.com.
All around the world. This is radiolawtalk.com.
So if you've been living under a rock, El Chapo is the drug lord from Mexico that has been found guilty and is serving time in prison. And I believe he's in New York. Is that correct, from what I recall?
Yes.
He's in New York. And the argument from his lawyer is under the Eighth Amendment that he's being treated unfairly and it is cruel and unusual punishment with his prison conditions. Now, there are some certain issues that they're trying to claim, the prison and the former prosecutors and the government saying, well, they're worried about him running his criminal enterprise out of prison, and so they're keeping him in what at least El Chapo's lawyer says, in solitary confinement in a 10 by 8 foot windowless cell.
By the way, he was sentenced in New York, but the feds are not saying where he's serving. We think it's in Colorado.
Ooh, that's right. That's true.
Or it could be at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. We're not sure. But they're not really saying exactly where for security reasons.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I didn't think about that.
I mean, the thing to keep in mind here is that when an individual is sentenced, for the most part, the concerns they have are the same, but they do assessments of individuals when they go into prison, and they assess likelihood of reoffense, they assess whether or not there's gang ties, they assess likelihood of violence and all that. And I'm not saying that the general assessment necessarily applies to El Chapo, but at the time he was sentenced, he did present with a certain set of liabilities that the average prisoner doesn't present to. Not the least of which is his fortune of money that maybe they did not seize, the ability to bribe people, the ability to do this, and it is not without precedent given how he was treated when he was incarcerated in, locales down in Mexico.
Yeah, just bought his way out, basically.
We're talking about a guy who had a mile or a mile and a half long tunnel dug laterally underneath his specific jail cell in Mexico, underneath his shower, that he was able to get down and then drive a motorcycle to freedom here. So he does have all of this, and quite frankly, they have to take these precautions because of the security risk that he provides. He is not the average prisoner.
Yes, and it's interesting. Some of the things they're bringing up is he's suffering from many symptoms of distress as a result of lengthy, unwarranted punishment. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Problem is?
Apparently the air conditioning in his cell is loud. He's got to use toilet paper for his earplugs. Now, this is interesting. Food and other commissary items are routinely withheld from him. That's interesting. Now, here is what they're asking for.
But they may be withheld because it's something within the prison that if you do certain things with your food, like throw it back at the guard or whatever.
Right.
I mean, we don't know why.
Yeah, we don't know. But what they're asking for is 2 hours of outdoor exercise a week. Apparently, they're claiming he's not going out and seeing the light of day. Again, I'm not an El Chapo. I'm not saying, I got to be careful where you do this. But, okay, the guy got to at least be able to see the light of day to some degree, maybe.
Well, the light's on in his cell 24/7, so, right. But it's not daylight, is it?
Yes, that's 2 hours of outdoor exercise a week, earplugs, same food and drink offerings of other inmates, and 6 bottles of water a week. Talk about asking for simple things in life, how that has changed from private jets and
motorcycles in tunnels.
Yeah.
I just think he's got an uphill battle trying to fight for this.
I agree.
Because, look, we're talking ultimately the cases go before the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, not saying this one would, but if you have a judicial system that has ultimately ruled that the death penalty, the harshest penalty out there, is not cruel and unusual punishment, I don't think that you're going to be able to make an argument that I didn't get as much water or the television was too loud is going to qualify under an Eighth Amendment standard. I just think that's going to be a difficult one to make. I remember when Floyd Mayweather was in prison serving his thing, he tried to claim, had an expert come in to say that his career was being irreversibly damaged because of the conditions in jail, and he would lose body mass and never be able to get it back. And then he got out and he won another $500 million in fights. So, they hear this. Yeah. I don't think it's going to carry the day.
Interesting. All right, we'll move on. So the fake German heiress, this is a story. Now, when I first started understanding this and reading about it and studying it, the first thing I said to myself, and I wrote on my notes, I had a little bit of notes I wrote on it. The first thing I said, movie, ? And sure enough, after I studied it, I found out that HBO and Netflix are in the process of talking to this lady about doing a show on her and on what she's about. Apparently, she comes from Russia, okay? And her name is Anna Sorokin, Sorokin, okay? And she comes from Russia. She went from Russia to Germany. Her family moved over to Germany. And if you walk through her beautiful music, Cal, this is good.
Well, it's the German national anthem.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Apparently, she has done a lot in Germany and in Europe. She has interned at different agencies for fashion, and she's really into that stuff. She comes to the United States. And as she comes to the United States, she decides, you know what? I need a little more money, but I don't have it.
And I'm going to live the American dream, and I need funds.
Duh.
Immediately.
Yes.
So apparently what she does, and this is the best part about it, and I don't know, those of you out there that have banks that won't even give you a loan for $100 and you've got great credit, this lady gets a $100,000 loan basically off a handshake.
Can you imagine the interview?
Wait, Todd's looking at me.
I'm not even going there, Fred. You're trying to bait me into something, and I'm not going to go there. But yes, and I have a handshake or something like that for you. If I could get the $100,000 loan, I would pay it back with interest.
Sure, I would. Yeah, you can count on me.
Is that German or is that Russian?
I don't know. It's something.
It's a dialect. That's all you need to know. It's a dialect.
But this is what's interesting. So she just got sentenced to 12 years in prison. But I want to talk about what she did. There's some interesting things, Todd, that she's doing. The first issue is what's happening is. I wish Denise was here to keep him in check.
I have said nothing.
I know.
We're going on the handshake. Very good.
Your expressions.
Okay.
Her issues are when she shows up to court, there are cameras. And she has to make sure she is dressed appropriately. In fact, they had a specialist come in to make sure. What do you call those people that?
A fashion consultant. Stylist.
Fashion stylist.
I have a reputation to protect. I need to look good. Make sure there's not the news cameras on my right side. That is the better side for me.
So the lawyers actually dressed her.
Yes,
the defense attorneys.
Right. Yeah. Now, what they argue, because they can argue this, and you're like, how the heck would the judge allow that? Because they can argue that. There's a certain look that she needs to have in order to, be fair, so she's not looked improperly about what she's wearing for the jury.
Well, yeah, it's very common, just putting all the joking aside, it's very common when you're representing somebody who's in custody to make an order request that the person be dressed not in the orange, prison orange or red or whatever, to be dressed in the normal garb, to maybe not have the restraints visible if they have to have that. And so if the judge grants that, nobody's going to go in and say, okay, you can dress him, but you can't dress him with anything less than $500 or more than, look, they just give an order to have him dressed, and it's up to the defendant to dress them however they want.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Did you see one of the dresses she wore? Very, very low cut with a choker collar on it, and it just was absolutely, I'm going to say, stunning. It was like she was dressed to go downtown New York.
Ironically, the same dress she wore to get the bank loan.
Maybe.
This dress has paid off for me. I may be able to get the judge to knock my sentence down to community service.
Yeah. But it's interesting. So I'm trying to get through this thing intelligently.
Would you like to give me deferred entry of judgment? Maybe you could review my legal briefs. What do we have here? I'm sorry. Fred, will you please continue with the analysis of this case? What was he wearing?
Please.
They said we had people complaining we laugh too much on this show, and that's right, we do, but we don't really care. I don't really care. Okay, listen, would you be quiet?
We are happy German people. Sure. Well, I will shush.
And now, quick takes.
Quick takes, okay.
All right, my quick take. We didn't get through this. Oh, my gosh. The radio was turned off. Quick take. Don't you dare, people out there, make a hair growth cream and call it Fred P. I'm coming after you.
Okay, my quick take. I am appalled by your conduct, even though I endorsed that conduct a decade ago and will most likely endorse that conduct in the future. Welcome to the rally cry of the current Judicial Committee.
We'll be back next week if you want to join us and listen to a bunch of laughing. I'm Fred Penny, your host. This is Radio Law Talk.
Please join us. We have ways of making you listen.
Yeah.
You have been listening to RadioLawTalk.com, a copyrighted presentation of Radio Law Talk Incorporated.